Tech. It's short for technique, but for the sake of this video, it's how you get the most out of your abilities and damage. Just as a heads up, we're not going to be covering every tech just because there's too many, but I guarantee you 99% of you guys watching are going to learn something new by the end of this video, and if I'm wrong, you have my permission to dislike the video. But until then, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn that bell icon on because it lets me know to keep making videos like these. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting with top of the tanks, D.VA. When demeching, D.Va goes a fixed distance. However, if the player holds jump throughout the animation, she ends up going higher than normal. This is really useful for landing on high grounds. D.Va's remech animation forces her to stand still, making her an easy target. But if D.Va remechs near an elevated surface or slope, she does this slide animation, making her a way harder target to hit. If that's not enough, she could also toss in a jump to really mix up the movement. D.Va's self-destruct can block shots. Doomfist has a fair number of techs, but we'll keep it simple. You can redirect his momentum mid-punch by jumping and turning that direction at the same time. You can also fly out of spawn quicker by punching and using slam. A really cool and useful tech is the stair slam. When performing a regular slam, your directional input doesn't move you much, but when slamming on a staircase or slope, your directional input pulls really sharply. This is good for cutting corners quickly and general movement mix-ups. Fun fact, Doomfist can ping enemies while in Meteor Strike. Junkerqueen's knife pulls enemies a little further depending on elevation. If you crouch while pulling from close, you can launch enemies way further than you could normally. Orisa's ultimate pulls people towards her, which means she can pull an entire team off the map given the right circumstances. Ramattra doesn't seem like he has tech, but I discovered he has a really useful one. When entering Nemesis form, he gains a temporary 225 armor. If you're ever under a lot of heat and lose that armor, you can quickly cancel Nemesis form, then ult for a fresh set of 225 armor. You can see from this clip that the tech actually clutches up the fight for me in a real game example. Reinhardt, as simple as he seems, has a couple useful tech. For starters, his swing hitbox can reach further if you know how to manipulate it. Instead of aiming right at them, you'll want to aim right of them. Then the second swing left of them. Rinse and repeat. Imagine the hitbox like a square. You'll have more reach if you point the corners at them. Shatter can travel just about any rise or dip that isn't larger than 2/3 of a Reinhardt. Various objects in the game are sloped or multi-leveled, which makes it so Shatter can rise or dip several times. Holding jump at the end of a charge will get you more distance because momentum. You can cancel charge and then jump to reach heights a normal jump wouldn't. I think most people know that Roadhog can turn hook enemies. What most people don't know is how to turn hook around walls. If you hook and immediately turn, the target will get snagged on a wall. But if you hook and wait for the pulling animation, then turn, you can put someone in a really bad spot. As a bonus, you can also jump hook people onto high ground. As Sigma, if you're ever kissing distance of someone, primary fire, melee, is better damage over time than just primary fire. Normally, you can combo someone by spawning a rock and shooting right after. Well, now in Overwatch 2, the time between rock and shooting is way less. You can actually hold down the primary fire while rocking to pretty much one-shot combo a squishy. A pretty niche but not entirely useless tech is to flux enemies onto your head. This can stop Immortality Field or Transcendence from saving a player in your ult. Winston can emote mid-jump. A must-know tech for Winston players is the jump pack melee animation cancel. A simple melee right before landing is all you need. If you get really good at it, you won't even see the melee animation, and if you get really good at it, you'll throw in a zap midair. Winston's primal hitbox is similar to Reinhardt's swings. You don't want the crosshair right on them, you want it right to them, then left to them. Rinse and repeat. Wall jumping. It's not a must-know, but it's definitely a should-know. Roll towards a wall, and right before impact, input the opposite direction and jump at the same time. The second way of wall jumping is to look at a 45-degree angle right before impact and jump at the same time. In Overwatch 1, most heroes could silence their fall by holding jump, but that got patched out going into Overwatch 2. However, Wrecking Ball is the exception to that patch. Next up is Zarya. Rocket jumping is a pretty effective mobility tool. You can double rocket jump to get even higher. The trick is to shoot up the first nade, then shoot the rest until you have to reload, then immediately shoot down for the double rocket jump. When trying to maximize damage output, it's most effective to shoot out a nade right before running out of ammo or as the finishing blow. If you're having trouble with her grab projectile, it's actually the same as her nade projectile, so when in doubt, just use it as a reference. With Ashe, it's good practice to go for an unscoped shot on targets you headshot. The first unscoped shot is always accurate and it's faster than going for a second scope shot. Coach gun is good for verticality, that's no secret. However, if you just shoot straight down, you're an easy target and you're not getting much speed. So angling the coach gun for speed and the quickest landing possible is the optimal way to use it. Bastion has one of the best rocket jumps in the game. You can even double the jump by sending one up, waiting for the cooldown to come back, and sending one down. The default spray serves as a really good reference point and helps when lining up the second nade. Cole Cassidy is a pretty simple dude. He rolls to reload and he rolls to reduce damage. His roll also likes to climb things sometimes. It's not a bad idea to use his high noon in a 1v1 since it gives him an insane amount of damage reduction. Sorry Echo players, I don't have much for you guys, but here's something. When going for close stickies on an enemy, it's a good idea to shoot once, then sticky to maximize your damage output. Did you know that Genji can super jump? If you jump then double jump right before hitting the ground, Genji will jump slightly higher than a normal jump. Not very useful, but cool I guess. When ulting as Hanzo, you can actually charge an arrow during the animation. Junkrat stores 2 mines at any given moment, but can triple mine jump if you set one up beforehand. Or you could just save the last mine for damage. I highly recommend getting his lounge emote. It is unironically pay to win. With Mei, you can body block people and damage with her ice block. When going for an ult, you'll want to primary fire the target to not only keep them in the ult, but also freeze them faster. For Pharah, boosters get you height, but shooting the ground in boosters gets you even more height. But for even more height than that, you'll shoot the ground, boosters, and then conk right off the rip. When going for barrage, you'll want to shoot a rocket first to maximize the damage output. As Reaper, when teleporting, you'll want to try to aim higher than the destination. Lower or leveled won't work, but higher will get you there and sometimes even further. Reaper chucks his guns away whenever he reloads, so it's not a bad idea to melee during the reloads because it's basically free damage. Little known fact, you can crouch during Wraith form. Most players will be going for the headshot once you're out of Wraith, so this is a really good mix-up option to use against good Widow players. Much like Pharah, shooting one shot before ult is good for extra damage, especially since it reloads for you anyways. Sojourn's super jump is a must-know. It gets you to high grounds she normally can't reach. It takes some time to get used to, but basically the inputs are jump, slide, and jump again really quickly. Even more of a must-know is you can emote mid-slide as Sojourn. Although not as good as Bastion's, Soldier also has a rocket jump. Using Visor automatically reloads for Soldier. Also a little known fact is he can still headshot while in Visor. Sombra can de-stealth while hacking. This is really efficient when compared to the time wasted hacking then de-stealthing. Symmetra's turrets can block shots. That includes high noon. She can also farm beam off anything with health. That means minefield, TP, turrets, or even a rip tire if you're crazy enough. Torbjorn's turret can body block for him. That means you can use it to block punches, hooks, bullets, you name it. If you're ever being chased, it's also decent at blocking doorways or sharp turns. With Tracer, you can blink to high grounds you normally wouldn't be able to reach with a jump. You can also deploy a quicker pulse bomb by ulting, then blinking, rather than doing it the other way around. A very effective 1v1 mix-up is to blink behind the enemy, then blink back. That'll usually make the enemy turn around, giving you some free shots. There's a mechanic with Widowmaker's grapple, where if you grapple a ledge, it will always force an auto climb. The alternative to this is breaking grapple early, but that makes your trajectory a little more predictable. It's also pretty nice to know that regardless of where you're looking, you will always auto climb when grappling a ledge. As Ana, you can quickscope her first shot by shooting as soon as the scope appears. When healing from a bad position, you probably shouldn't use Ana's scope shots. They leave a trail, making it easier for enemies to track you. So instead, use her unscope shots. Baptiste can actually walk a little bit before his jump boots expire. On this current version of Baptiste, the optimal way to use his gun is to heal, shoot twice, heal. Choosing to only heal results in the same heal speed, so you might as well do damage too. Third person peek when used around the corner is essentially free information that only a few characters can utilize. You'll definitely want to abuse this as Brig. Brig can also get some interesting verticality by shield bashing and jumping off a slope. She can also farm Inspire off of Minefield and Riptire, but none of the other deployables for some reason. Kiriko's teleport can now be buffered, which means you can hold the button and basically 180 screen shake out of trouble. Although it's not that strong, you can boot people with her nade. Something else that's interesting is looking up a little bit as Kiriko will actually block the head hitbox. If you're trying to be a super efficient Lucio player, hold the crossfade is actually the superior setting, because when Lucio is stunned, he automatically swaps back to healing aura, which can save him or a teammate. As of Overwatch 2, Lucio's boop distance changes depending on where you aim it. If you boop higher, enemies will go further. Mercy can crouch to res targets that are slightly out of reach. Her wings also block headshots, so it's pretty effective to spin when rezzing, especially while in Valk. Moira can get extra jump height off of sloped objects. With the right spacing, she can also jump twice in one fade. Zen tech kinda sucks. You can block bullets with Transcendence, I guess.